Our forefathers came, some seeking adventure, some bound in chains, through battles waged and fought, through victory and pain. By test of their courage, our freedom was gained. In homage to those gone before us, the heroes of lands in the sun, we vow to join hands and to focus on building one Caribbean. Raise your voices high, sing of your Caribbean pride. Sing it loud and strong, feel our hearts beat as one. Celebrate in song as we rise to heights where we belong. Sound the victory drum for Caracom.
Welcome, sisters. Welcome to our program On Target. And as usual, as soon as we start this program, you have the opportunity to pick up your telephone and give us a call. We never have a subject matter. We speak about anything: politics, religion, socioeconomic issues, any issue trending. And we want to, our program is coming on Socioeconomic FM 92.2, Real FM 91.9. We're on Facebook and YouTube. And we also want to welcome all our workers that have lost their job as a result of the National Democratic Congress new political victimization program. We have another 30 workers from St. Andrews that is on the breadline. By the 15th of the month, they'll be notified that they would not have a job after working for 6 years straight. We want to encourage them to continue to listen to our program. And sometimes when the going get tough, the tough get going. Sometimes the true nature of individual, you only find out when you have serious challenges. So we want to encourage you. You can also pick up the telephone and give us a call on any issue, 442-0175. Today, Catholics all over the world is celebrating the feast of St. Leo the Great. He was Pope and considered as doctor of the church. I think it was Benedict XIV, somewhere in 1747, that declared him as a doctor of the church. Catholics like a lot of rituals and tradition, and members of the church must know why you're doing what you're doing, particularly if you want to be an apologetic for the church, or if you want to explain your religion to other people or to neighbors. You must know why you're doing what you're doing. So today is the feast of St. Leo the Great. A number of things have contributed to me while I wait on your interruption, and welcome it always, contribute to me believing that we have to have a change of mentality, a change of attitude in terms of our education, our health, and our finances. More and more, sometimes, more things change, more they remain the same. Government in Grenada is the biggest employer, and I don't see that really changing in the near future. Government has invested seriously in tourism. over the years. But with the present crisis in the world, in terms of the war with Russia and Ukraine, going on for over 8 months, I don't see that ending in a hurry. We had the experience of COVID-19 that practically grind the tourist industry to a halt. And then we have disease condition that can pop up anytime that can restrict traveling. And more technology. So an individual don't have to come to your country to know your country. The kind of technology that is available there outside, people can have detailed experience with your country in a virtual sense. And big countries themselves are developing their own tourist industry so that their own people can move from county to county or state to state or parish to parish. So small countries as us in Grenada have to be very careful. Today, perhaps the United States of America is the closest friend to Grenada and most of the Caribbean countries. Although some of our relationship with the United States of America is practically a love-hate one. We're costing them money noon and night. But the first opportunity we get, we go to the United States. The United States of America gives small countries the permission to sell passport so they can make money for the country. A serious source of income for St. Kitts, Nevis, Antigua, Dominica, I think Barbados and St. Lucia and other countries. Selling passport. Sell passport to countries in the Middle East, Asia. And once they obtain a passport from the island, it is easier for them to come to the United States. This is part of the geopolitical and bilateral relationship countries have with the United States of America. But that is not cast in stone. One government come and find you too cozy with the enemies and whop, that facility could cut off. We have to create a people that is more competitive on the job market. Our education system throughout the whole Caribbean is not helping the dreams and aspirations of our leaders in the Caribbean. In fact, I think the biggest albatross around our neck in the Caribbean is our education system. It has prevented us from realizing our full potential on the job market. We only have to blame ourselves. Can't blame slavery. We're walking around with slavery as an excuse. Can't blame slavery. For too long, we have the authority to determine our own education. Yes, scholar, welcome.
Hey, good afternoon, Sir Pierre.
Yes, scholar, welcome.
Yeah, Sir Pierre, I remember in the election campaign, we are told that poverty will be no more. The government in office presently was told the Ghanaian people they will eradicate poverty. And Mr. Pierre, what I want to ask, find out if the unemployment was 20%, okay, and then you sell more people, and the unemployment rate becomes 35.5%. It is just more poor people, more people that will be on the poverty line, right?
Definitely.
More people will be on poverty line. So I want to ask you the question: You say to the Grenadian people, you will not send them nobody. You can make it permanent. The people that sounds nice. The people go for it, and now the people are sent home. Were sent home. Some of them wasn't. They are the breadwinner. Father get up morning time. He looking at his wife. Wife looking at the husband. None can help the other. Children don't work it. It is not an easy thing. It's not easy. No, I call upon the government to rethink. The letters that they give the people for no good reason. Think about it. See what you could do to help the work. See what to help the workers. And I call upon the Ukrainian people. Now, sometimes when you look at the purpose why we were created, we were created in image and likeness. We were created for a purpose, and a purpose is to serve God, and that purpose to live in peace and love and unity with our brethren. And we have to change our attitude towards one another. I just think about attitude. And see, once we don't change our attitude towards one another, we will still have that division. And the purpose of a government is to try to bring everyone together, not to divide. And a good leader, a successful leader, will bring everybody together and to make sure that the country go forward and the country have peace and stability in the country. And when there is no peace and stability in the country, what do we find happening? Investors want to come and invest. So the first thing that the government have to within the cabinet they want peace and stability. The people, the country, and investors could see the peace and stability. They could see greater as somewhere where they could come and invest. And the government is not only who elected, and every one of us who want to see any government be successful. And when people call and they say something, not really we hate, but we want to see things go good, see things go good, right? And wait how things go good. You always say to people, righteousness exalts a nation. If both persons did something wrong, you punish the two persons for the crime they committed. Punishing one person for a crime for something that you say that they did wrong, and the other person did wrong and embracing them. What you're doing, then you're bringing division among people. And see, great in our village, our neighbors are very close by. And when you have a village that divided, you know what happened in that villages? Look like they were saying you could leave your home and go out and come back and make sure nobody will dare to go into your neighborhood because people will have a lookout and to see that nobody go into your home. But when you have a village divided, what if it happens? People, the care for one another is not there. The respect for one another is not there. But when you have a people that are united, a people that care about one another, they will always protect the neighbors. So, Mr. Pierre, have a pleasure.
Yes, scholar, thank you very much. It's a good contribution. It must be a little bit difficult. You know, it must be a little difficult. And I think we should never stop talking on this issue. I think the present policy of the National Democratic Congress is kind of dumb and it's evil. When you decide for no genuine reason to put 30 persons on the breadline. Yes, scholar, welcome.
Yeah, Mr. Pierre, good
Yes,
day.
scholar, welcome.
Yeah. Yeah, I was in a program this morning there and someone mentioned about some woman has 6 children and that is the National Democratic don't like people in Juba. And then mocking that a woman has 6 children and then we cannot go and you enjoying that. Now man, I can understand if that how we coming great at it. You have to hear one guy call and say he laughing but he say he mother make 13 and none of the children don't make that. But he grateful enough to be a member of the 13. You check, but he himself probably don't even have only 6. You know, but I don't understand certain people in this place, but not everybody will be fighting it. You have some people fighting them and they can make. You have some people whole time they go to work and get medication, they get all kind of things, they go to doctor, they go to this, they go to that, spend $1,000 in order to make a child. Somebody being fruitful, you mocking that. And you enjoying people losing job now, man. It's time for people to pull up on that, man. People, I don't understand. I don't understand. Is that the people enjoy doing that, but you can do people that and they doesn't address it with the matter. And the matter, the main thing what the Prime Minister said, no one will lose a job. And then when nobody that to frighten, no one will lose a job, and everybody, you will make them permanent. So, but they doesn't address that at all. Oh, the previous government do thing, but the previous government never say getting everybody permanent and everybody got a job and zero poverty. They never mention that. But all they do address the situation where they say zero poverty. He said that, and he say everybody, no one will lose their job. That is what people are looking forward to see. No one lose the job. But nobody addressing that. Address that situation. We say no one will lose the job, and not saying don't and justify that the farmer want to do and this and the political appointment. But it's people trying to send them so. Yeah, they're the proper self, man. Take him up here. Enjoy weekend.
Yes, caller. And caller, we have to continue speaking. Even if you believe that your voices are small, you have to continue speaking. That is why slavery lasts so long. This is why when Gary came in 1951, it was a battle. It was a struggle. The better off people in Grenada, the intelligentsia and the plantocracy, they joined up to fight down Eric Gary because he wanted better conditions for the poor of the poor. The British sent 2 battleships in Grenada. There are a lot of people in Grenada who is well educated, but they use their opportunity to get an education as an opportunity to be in a social class, and they do not speak up for the poor of the poor. Now, if you go back and study the National Democratic Congress, I am not surprised at their behavior, but slightly disappointed. I thought maybe they're having new individuals who never been in politics before might have bring out a better NDC. But go back and study NDC. NDC have fired or expelled all the moderates, always expelling and firing moderates in the party. Go back and study all the people from way back when that NDC as a party have fired. Even within the ranks, some of the people that seems or appear to be more moderate, their significance in NDC is diluted. NDC has embraced the Prince of Hate for about 7 years, or 8 or 10 years, on radio station, preaching hate. So you have some hardcore individuals there that sit down and plan to lie, to deceive people. They stare the people in their eyes and say you will not lose your job. They told them you will be made permanent. They had no intention of doing that. That is what's sad. Immediately that NDC won election, they start to compile the list of people that should be fired. I remember reading out 5 letters from Carriacou. 5 women. We didn't bother to read out the list of men. Normally, I don't waste time bothering with the men. 5 women. When a political party always target the weak, the marginalized, and women of lower academic and economic rank, it tells you what type of people we are. Yes, caller, welcome.
Yeah, afternoon.
Yes, caller, welcome.
Yeah, I is one that get victimized by the National Democratic Congress.
How long you were working?
I was working for over a year.
Okay.
As a assistant the housing coordinator.
Okay.
Right. And on the 13th of September, on the 12th of September, I get a call on my phone. Tell me come back to sign an invoice to resume to work. And from The 13th, I started getting called to go and assist people doing a little estimate based of the requirement for the rebuilding of the house, the renovation of the house, and other things like that. And I continue from the 13th up till the 27th of October working. On the 28th day of October, I received a call. That was Friday, around 1:20. And I answered the call. They tell me they're calling from National Housing Authorities. They have a letter there for me. I told them I couldn't come on Friday afternoon, so I told them I'm coming on Monday. When I went there on Monday, it was a letter prepared there for me. I read the letter. I see it was a dismissal letter. Well, I took it, but I asked them about my payment. He told me my payment will come to my account in the bank. So when you're talking about the National Democratic Congress, I would like to, a question I want to ask them, to give me the meaning of victimize or victimization. Because this is thing they say nobody would not have lost their job. But presently now, well, they come to victimize me and put me out of a job, so I have to be home presently now. So you see, the thing is about it, we Grenadians cannot learn. The National Democratic Congress is like a disaster to Grenada. And we put back some of us put back ourselves in. We put back ourselves with them and put them in office. So what some of us facing now, we have to accept it because we don't learn our lesson. 2008 was a great lesson for us, and we still look. We bring back the same. It's worse than Hurricane Ivan. This is what's happening to Grenadians right now. So I just always say, who can hear us how to feel? But I know I am an innocent one that facing it now. I'm one of the innocent ones. Yeah.
Yes, scholar. Thank you. Yes, that is one of the challenge we have, and we want to encourage people, don't stop speaking, because it took a lot of sacrifice for slavery to be abolished. It took a lot in Gary days, a lot. I remember one situation on the estate a few days before Carnival, when the overseer come out and select 6 or 7 men and say, you have to work on Monday and Tuesday. And these men was perhaps throughout the whole year preparing for job. The whole group of people shocked. And one of them say not working. And his wife, he got agitated. So his wife scrambled him to the ground and begging him in tears. Don't tell them nothing because we're living in the bark. So they choose 7 of the men that was living in the barrack in the estate to go and work Carnival Day. Other men, they could have choose other men because not everybody that was playing job. But I know these men were working in the barrack. Every Monday morning, our forefathers, our parents was breaking houses and moved from one place to the other. Yes, caller, welcome.
Good morning, Mr. Pierre, and how are you doing, sir?
Great.
All right. Well, I hear you say we shouldn't stop speaking.
No,
and
we
I
should
think
never
it's
stop speaking.
Right. And I will never stop speaking. When it's wrong, it's wrong. Now, I want to tell the people in this government, the administration, and especially the Minister of Finance and the Prime Minister of our country. Now, when you want economy to grow, the more people you have employed is the better for the economy of this country. The more people you send home is the more hard it becomes for the economy of the country because this country depends on taxes to run. So, and the small man who has the spending power, power. They are the ones that spends money in this country to buy the little food and vegetables to sustain them for another month to month or another fortnight to fortnight, according to the paycheck they get. Now, when you send home these people and they go on the breadline, what's happening to the Grenada economy? It bringing us back in a condition where we gonna have to borrow money to pay salaries just now, because our economy is going to get so bad that these ministers don't have a clue on how to govern. And I am continuing to advocate. The first month after the election, they send home over 300 bathroom and toilet workers, the house repair workers. They send home over 300 of them. And if I may count more, that is in the first month after winning the election. Do you know all these families have children and relatives that voted for the NDC? They put you into power just to sideline and to put them on a breadline. No, this is not victimization. This is cruelty in the part of a government that want to say they're doing better. And when this gentleman say he is going to put everything in writing, permanent, not contract, this gentleman didn't understand. You were staying outside and run your mouth and saying how you could govern country better. But when you get inside there, you realize it's a different kettle of fish. Mr. Prime Minister, I am warning you. Stop letting your ministers go down that road. Pull up on the socks and employ people. Give people the necessary bread and butter they need. That is what they want now. Help these people to get food on the table. People is concerned about Christmas is coming. Not a few, not the big shots. We have to stop catering only to the big shots. The poor people, the layman, the one who depend on the poor day work. I call about a woman in Monfan that have 5 children, and they issue a letter to her to go home. How is she going to? Well, you look as though some crime going to take place in this country. More thieving, more stealing, more hungry mouths. Come on, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, scholar.
I appealing to the government again. Put an end to this thing. Please help me echo that sentiment. Thank you very much.
Yes, scholar. One of the quickest ways for the government to hear is the people who supports the government. I've not heard the voice from the president of the Grenada Trade Union Council. I've not heard the voice of the President General of the Technical and Allied Workers Union. I've not heard the voice of the trade union representative in the Senate. Yesterday, I've been calling on Mr. Tillman Thomas. These people always give the impression to the public, they are the high moral individuals in this country. I believe the NDC over the years have become inherently evil. When you could fire people without justification, and you even cannot defend it publicly, that is why I challenge members of the National Democratic Congress to publicly defend the people you are firing. Explain, justify, give reason why these people are fired. You have people working 6 years on the road. You are not closing down the program, but you're going through the list of these people and fire them because you believe they voted for NNP. How do you know? NNP lost the election. How do you know who voted for them? But even if, when you decide to incorporate political victimization as part of your policies, you're going to break up this country like a cliques. And my biggest fear is the schoolhouse. There are some people you would not give scholarships. There are some people who would not be able to employ with the government. Your groups and organizations in the village are going to break up. There are more speculation, more accusation. Already there are some children that don't get to graduate in school because they might have had an altercation with the teacher in Form 1 or Form 2. So when they reach in Form 5, the teachers don't let them graduate. Yes, caller, welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. Pierre. How are you doing?
Come on. Yeah, good, great, man.
Right, yeah. Right. Let us, well, according to the Minister of Labor, the AG, let us be straight and clear. We have to take some of the blame, some of our supporters for the demise, well, for us kind of being in the position we are right now. Some of us do things to the party, and by extension, the party suffers for it. I listened to a program, well, I still listen to the program. I listened to a program with this Senator Chris Britton, where he is in charge of some COVID relief, COVID loan, or COVID grant aid, and he's in Karaku. And apparently, he is hands-on in going around evaluating houses and homes and things like that. The senator that ran in St. Mark, right? You would tell me that this guy will be partial in giving out this grant to whoever he encounters. He will be going directly to NDC supporters. And people are calling on this program and saying that NDC people greedy and they didn't get them free again and the vet. What does that tell you when somebody is going wrong and they say you can get up to $30,000 for doing nothing at all? How does that sound? This party, this government right now is doing things that is rather strange, and to me, anybody that support NMP and as like me, they will consider you dunce, they will consider you stupid for speaking out. You cannot speak English either. This morning I heard the cry of the lady with the 6 children, and after that program, I listened to the Prince of it, and this guy is basically saying, don't listen to these people, don't take them on because they're not true. They're not putting it together. So I am urging the NDC supporters who are affected, NDC supporters, call the program, give your names, let them know what's going on, go to the town hall meetings or rallies that they'll be having. Go to these things and explain to them in the face. Shame them, because without we doing this thing, they will never know it. Because the old supporters telling people on stations, do not call this station, do not listen to this station because these people talking nonsense. So I'm telling any supporters, if you are brave enough, because I know some of you are affected, call these programs and then go to the meetings and tell them in the face, because I intend to do that. And that's
My brother, you have to be careful. I ain't tongue long. Eh? You have to be careful about going in the National Democratic Congress political meeting. Well, yeah, but okay.
I'm all right to go anyway.
Okay. Yeah. Yes, you see, people have to be careful about entering the political meetings of the National Democratic Congress at this time. I've never met a group of people yet know as bitter and angry and full of vengeance as the National Democratic Congress. And as such, you have to be careful about entering the meetings. You have to be very careful. During the 70s, I see some of the issues and violence that went on. And it was contributed by the alliance then entering the meeting of the government then to taunt their supporters. The mere fact that the National Democratic Congress seems to want to resurrect some of the spirit of the revolution and created a ministry of victimization, I believe people should be asking, as I do, that ministry should be disbanded. Or ask the leaders, Maybe we have to ask the journalists in the Caribbean for the government of Grenada to justify why is it necessary to have a ministry of mobilization, implementation, and transformation. When the Prime Minister himself, from an interview that is making the wave on social media from Tobago, said it is not so much transformation, but is restorative justice. That is why yesterday I called on Mr. Tillman Thomas and Mr. Bristol, who seems to want to justify some of the actions of the party. But you must never stop talking about it, because the worst thing that could happen to Grenada is for this victimization to become entrenched. Because if it don't stop, then it will become entrenched. And when the next government comes, it's going to be the same thing. And I think people must not stop. We must continue to speak about it, because that is the way, that is perhaps the only way you could get some level of redress. We have a call on the line. Caller, welcome.
Yes, good afternoon, brother.
Yes, good afternoon.
How you do?
Great, man.
Boy, yesterday before, boy, once that an opposite mistake me, I don't have gas to cook, and I ask them, they say, they what? They don't select the list and the this yet. They can't give me gas. I say, oh.
You were getting assistance in the program?
Yes, I'm getting assistance.
Well, you have to prepare them and show you out.
Well, they don't show me out already.
Well, you have to prepare for that, because that is the modus operandi of the National Democratic Congress.
But a good, wonderful lady gives me a sugar gas.
Yeah, particularly because you're on the radio all the time, they go show you out, man.
Yes, I don't mind.
Yeah.
But they won't show me though. If they show me out, I won't fall on the ground.
Yeah, well, that is important.
Somebody go pick me up.
Yeah,
but
that is
have
important.
To watch themselves.
Yeah.
We have to watch themselves.
Yeah.
75 years I have. I don't want no children, nobody.
Yeah, but that's it. You know. This is what is unfortunate when you have a political party. A government supposed to always extend the olive branch,
yes,
and want unity in a country, but
that's
this
right.
group is on a vengeance trail.
Well, since in what they call him again? Since in let time, and you know when let was 100% living. Well, yeah, one day. Well, when they come in, they come to take out my water. I say, hold on. Just hold on there. And then I call Brother Let. And Brother Let come down. Immediately, they surprised to see Let in front of them. Brother Let say, you see this lady that is in front of me here? Please, all you do take out your water.
But you don't let it in.
Nobody to give her, and it's government that giving her the water. And we is the government, we have to give her water. Right? And that's why they leave me with my water. But no, but I let Eddie.
Yeah, you don't have this group that they don't seem to have. They don't have much compassion, and they don't seem to have feeling.
No.
And they're on a vengeful trail. I think somewhere along the line, the National Democratic Congress get evil.
Well, the amount of cry on them. Who are cry go on them? Daddy go take them. Daddy go deal with them. Daddy go say, well, you lie. You make a lady out of a gas to buy some water. She can have it. She can go and look for wood. She can go and get cold. What you want she to cook on?
But I don't think they care about that. Let's be realistic.
Brother,
yeah?
keep up
yes, thank you.
God
Thank you.
will bless you.
Yeah.
Blessing, blessing,
Yeah.
blessing you.
You
And I
see,
love
yeah,
you, darling.
yeah.
Bye-bye.
We cannot stop speaking about that. If it is wrong, it's wrong. The National Democratic Congress have no justification. It's not to say you reach a situation where the government don't have money. People are working 6 years with the government, and you find these people. The last 30 of them in St. Andrews, based upon the information I have, they will be out of a job on the 15th. They told them that the 15th is the last. I understand they tell them, well, they don't have to get letter because they was not employed with letter. Nobody gave them a letter to employ them. It was individuals that are employed 6 years ago. This is the nature of the group that we have now in government. I think they are inherently evil because nobody expects a prime minister to watch people in the eyes and say, we will make your job permanent. So like he sat down and planned to deceive these people. And there are a lot of members of the National Democratic Congress now that are running them out left, right, and center. And now, I always believe they should be challenged to explain what the government position is. The journalists in the Caribbean, perhaps we have to appeal to them because they would have an opportunity to speak to the ministers when they travel and to ask them to justify the ministry of victimization. Because I think the ministry of mobilization and implementation is really a ministry of victimization. We always have to strive to get our children to have a good education. I've been on that for the longest while. Always remember, the people the National Democratic Congress affecting are the people who do not have a proper education. The people who do not have the skills and talents for the jobs to be competitive on the market. The NDC always behave as a bully. I said that on a number of occasions. You could go back every time the NDC in power. Every time they in power, they go after the poor and the marginalized. Every time. This period is no different, but it is the worst. So in the future, you must always strive for your children to have a good education. Already in Grenada, 70% of the children who exit school cannot pass maths. They cannot pass English. Now, if you don't have maths and English, when you leave school, it makes it more challenging, more difficult to climb the academic ladder or to get the skills easier. If you have to go away on an institute, to an institute, a college, a training center, the level of qualification you have would be very important and critical. And as such, and that is why it is so important for you to know. Let me read this article on Facebook from Anna Chitram. She's saying, Mr. Pierre, you are not making any sense. Why don't you encourage the persons that was fired to go and get the proper qualification to fill the position they were placed in by the NNP government without proper qualification? This is what Anna Chetaram telling you. She's saying that the cleaners that was qualified, that was fired, the people who work in the homes, the people on the road they don't have the proper qualification. So she's saying to me, encourage them to go and get the proper qualification. Now, what is the proper qualification to cook, to clean? What qualification they have to have? They've been working for 6 years. The National Democratic Congress never said they was unproductive. 6 years they were working. The Minister of Communication and Works, the people doing debushing on the road, he said he not getting value for money. He did not extend the quantum, the quantity of work by the road. I don't know what is the measurement they give them. But it's 7 of them in a group. And if they have to walk 1,000 feet, the government didn't say, okay, we're going to add 200 feet more, so you will walk 12. Or we're going to subtract 1 person from the group because you have too much people in the group. The government wants them to work 8 to 4. It has nothing to do with the quality of work. It has nothing to do with the quantity of work. The minister, 8 to 4 Cornwall, disagree with the time that they're spending on the road. Anna Chitteram, how do you explain that? Somebody been doing a work for 6 years. You fire them without giving any justification. You never ask them about their qualification or the level of productivity. Now, this is why we want the minister to start to answer questions. Very soon, I'm going to call on the individual ministers. Very soon, you'll hear me calling on individual ministers and other individuals that think they are heavyweights in this country that is associated with the National Democratic Congress to explain the policy. We could always do that because when they asked the Minister of Culture a question, the Prime Minister did not feel the Minister of Culture was qualified to answer the question, and he gave it to the public relation officer, I think, of the NDC to answer. So nothing is wrong with that. The Prime Minister set the template. So we'll have to ask some of the individuals that are associated with the NDC to give us some explanation why they're doing it. And this one, Maria Alex, she said, well, if Emlyn employ people, whether with or without a contract, at least she help poor people by giving them a job. What NDC doing since they come? Well, it's an interesting question. Yes, caller, welcome.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yes, caller, welcome.
This 8 to 4 walk, I don't know how true that, but I'm hearing that about 8 to 4 on the road. I don't know. But that is unfair because when you look at it, in those days when we used to walk from 8 to 4 or whatever, remember we have climate change. And that sun, when you see that sun come out, it's not easy to stay in that sun 12 o'clock, you know. So this 8 to 4, 12 thing won't stand at all. Because when I started to walk, I used to walk on an estate and I used to walk from 8 to 4. I used to do days walk from 8 to 4. That time I was in Mr. Geary time. And when Bishop took over the thing, he bring it from 8 to 3. So I used to do days walk 8 to 3. I don't know for other places like government ministry and whatever and in the road. And then after Hurricane Ivan, we don't walk that days walk again. We walk up to 12. Some people call it task and they go before that, and we doing other work, we go up to 12. So sometimes you may say, let the people walk from 8 to 4. They won't get much work because the people might just stay there and play the fool and they won't work. And so many things that I hear in that NDC thing. I mean, I'm an NDC, I vote for NDC. These retrenching people, I don't find some of those things that ain't making much of a sense for me. Because what they're doing, they're just bringing on themselves and they're bringing on their party.
I don't find that making no sense at all. They should look into that and give it a second thought. Some of the people that walking on the road in, let's say they reach the age like, some days maybe should rethink these people and put people who are walking back in things. I don't find they're thinking people. I mean, yes, it's true, it's not a prominent walk, but I don't find that making sense. I know you have people doing that on a contract, they're working and they have to mind the child, them is mother, them is father, the mother died, and it's them alone know how to provide. So when you send them home, I don't know what they're going to do. You have to give that a second thought and look into it. Thank you.
Yes, scholar, I think that is important. I think people have to continue to speak about that. It appears that the executive, the 9 members that were selected in the house to host in the parliament, the 9 members of parliament led by Deacon Mitchell, something must have happened to their brain. I don't think they're thinking. They become very bitter, very vengeful, and they be behaving like bullies. Because the people they are going behind are cooks, cleaners, people doing the bushing and road work. In St. Andrews, I got information that 30 workers who work on the road, they've been working on the road for the last 6 years. The road officer informed them that on the 15th is the last. And they say they don't have to get letters. And I think this is sad, it's unfortunate. The National Democratic Congress has becoming more and more evil because you are getting rid of these people practically without notice right in front of the Christmas holidays. It is sad. And it doesn't seem that there are elders in the party. I know some of you directors of the NDC was very disrespectful to the old members of the NDC. They said, choppy on them. One of the motivational speakers was saying, give them armchair, let them go home. We have seen a great level of hostility by some of the key members of the National Democratic Congress against older people in the community. So maybe even within the NDC rank, the old people must be bewildered as on target. They must be surprised and shocked. They never expect that this group that is brand new to the politics could be so pregnant with hate and bitterness. But I think we have to continue to speak. Who knows? It took a lot of years for slavery to be abolished. It took a lot of years to convince Grenadians. It took 2 battleships from Europe, from England to come down in Grenada to cause women to increase their pay. Eventually, they say, Eric Gary make them wear nylon panty. It took a lot of struggle in Grenada for us to have independence. Some people believe that we couldn't have independence. Independence is not good enough for us. So it's a serious challenge. So we have to continue to speak. We have to empathize with those who lose their job, and we have to encourage them. As I say, people have to seriously consider having additional source of income. We have to culture our children that you must not have one source of income. Doesn't matter what job you have, you must have at least more than one source of income. What is going on outside, we also have in the ministries where the NDC continue to search for green blood, whether it's in the police force or in the different ministries, you hear rumors of people being sidelined and some of the negatives that go on. We have a caller on our line. Caller, welcome.
Good day, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, caller.
God is in control. If NP win the election, was sure we did better than them. Them fellas didn't want to win the election. Them fellas wanted to win for
I'm not hearing you clearly on the phone at all.
So they're showing it now what they have done if an MP they win for. But God is in control. Not long from now.
Yes, thank you, Coach. Yes, you must always try to have an additional source of income. There's a lot of investment people can make. And I wanted to spend some time on the police, but time run out, so another time. But it's a culture that have to change. We have to change our culture. When you have a job, you have to have another source of income. So in the event that you lose your job, immediately you would not go into financial panic. For instance, as soon as you get a job, try to save 10% of your income until you're able to have savings to cover you for 3 months. If you save 10% of the money you get in wages and salary, and you do it for a period of time, yes, we have a call on the line, and that would be our last caller. Caller Punch.
Yes, I think too that self-employed is very important, because government to me and a small places cannot employ everybody to work. So I think some people should try to do, not everybody that have land, but some people should try to see how to develop themselves by self-employed, because it's a stress on government to employ a lot of youth in Grenada but not working. It's very hard.
Yes, caller, thank you. And we're going to spend some time in the future on having an additional source of income. It is not difficult to start small business. $500, $1,000 could start small business. And you might surprise to know the level of income that you have. And we're going to have discussion about how to save from when you start to work, whatever work you're doing, how to save some money so that if you lose your job, you have a 3 months buffer zone or 3 paycheck. That's better we say 3 months. Some people might get paid by the week. So at least for 3 months, you could have savings that could take care of your expenditure, your current expenditure, and pay your loan and etc. for at least 3 months. So during that period of time, you may try to look for a job. I had already heard a story where 2 persons in the same house, husband and wife, lost their job. And the sister who told me that your boyfriend planning to go to Trinidad if he loses a job, well, he lost his. So definitely he has no question about that. He say he's going to make for Trinidad. She called me last night to tell me that. Well, I could only hope and pray for her. Her main issue was the boy decided to go to Trinidad. She wants him to stay here because she's pregnant. She has 5 children. She's pregnant for him. But he says he's going to go to Trinidad because he has a lot of work in Trinidad. But the woman is concerned that if he go, he may not come back. And she would have to carry on with her kid alone. And she was trying to encourage him not to go. But he too has lost his job. And that's the issue. We have a number of people in the diaspora. Sometimes they need to know what's going on in Grenada. They really need to know and understand, some of the issues. And we continue to appeal to some of the main players in the National Democratic Congress to start to think. You don't need to be vindictive and vengeance. And we come back with you next week, Monday, from 12 to 1. But remember, we have the extension on Friday. Thank you very much.
As a people,